Hey, it's Mr. Johns. Welcome back to American Truck Simulator. This trip we are going all the way down to Moab, Utah, and we started up in Montana. So we are doing quite a trip. I believe 10-hour journey altogether. Longest trip I've done. So this first section we are just heading down to pick up the trailer. It's quite a drive just to get there. About an hour and a half just to go pick up the trailer, but it's out of town, and that's what I've got to do. So looking at my GPS, it's telling me I'm about 43 minutes away from the trailer itself. So a lot of this is going to be sped up, so don't worry. You're not going to have to sit through a lot of boring highway driving, although that's what this game is kind of about. I wouldn't say boring. It's actually pretty cool. You do feel like you're working a job, driving a truck, seeing the country, following the laws, trying to be efficient, trying to manage a business, start a business, and help it grow. That part is pretty cool. And the fact that the locations are so realistic, so we're pulling into a place that I didn't know about until I played this game. So it's called Earthquake Lake, and I think it was 1955. There was a huge earthquake. It moved just tons of rock in 60 seconds, clogged the river, and formed this lake. In fact, I think it killed 5 people. It pushed the cabins off of their foundations. This particular visitor center right here, it really exists. I looked up a picture, which I'll share with you in a moment. But they built a visitor center for this lake. Kind of interesting. You can see some leftovers, some scraps of cabins that were wiped out from down there. So this is also a photo achievement spot. So I'm switching over to photo mode and wondering what it is I'm taking a picture of. But right there, it turns yellow. That tells you that. And here's the real photo. So I found this online. This is the actual visitor center and the actual lake, the actual location. So they did a really nice job creating the digital version of this location, just like everything else in the game. It's pretty cool. So we're going to head up, and I think there's a video achievement as well. So as long as we're here, we'll go to this little dead-end turnaround location, trigger that video right here. So I guess there's probably not too many earthquakes that have created lakes, in the history of the world. Maybe a handful, but just probably not very common. So that was a river, which is now a lake, and probably quite a tourist destination. I don't know if I would drive just to Earthquake Lake, but who knows? Maybe people water ski, fish. Maybe it's a recreational spot. I just don't know. So another example of how it's fun to discover parts of the country, even if it's virtually. Now I know about this lake that before I played this game I did not. So we're going to head down or up, I guess it looks like up this dirt road to our destination where we can pick up our trailer. So it looks like Namio maybe is the name of this company. Looks like maybe some mining or some terracing in the background. And maybe this is a mining company. But it's been an hour and a half, so hopefully this job is still available. And sure enough, there it is, Moab, Utah. It does pay $27,000, which is one of the reasons I took it. So the trailer is ready. All we have to do is hook it up, as always. It's always kind of fun coming around the corner. I don't really pay much attention to what I'm picking up. I should, but I don't. When I get there, I notice which trailer it's pointing to and hook it up. It's always different. So far, it's never really been the same back to back. So it looks like we are taking a backhoe tractor to Moab. These long trips do make me think how interesting it would be to play it real time. Like if it's a 10-hour job, do it in 10 hours. You know, so when I pull over the truck to use the restroom, I go use the restroom. When I stop to get food, which I don't do in this game, but I would stop like at a restaurant in the game and then run to my kitchen and make a sandwich. You know, take a little break, eat my sandwich. So I think it'd be fun to try once. I'm not sure how exciting the video would be. I still would probably fast forward it because that's brutal. And I don't know if I can even do an 8 to 10 hour video on YouTube. But I think it would be fun. I think it would be interesting. So I've thought that the same thing for the train simulator and Microsoft Flight Simulator as well, to do actual time, which would be kind of a fun challenge. So this part of the country is gorgeous here. So we're traveling south from Montana into Idaho and just touching the Yellowstone area. As a matter of fact, this is West Yellowstone. If you've been there, you'll recognize just kind of the layout. I don't know it well enough to know the know the stores and the shops and the buildings, but it's probably pretty realistic. I know all the names are different, but the structures seem to be pretty real. So I've got a police officer right on my tail. I never know whether I can go right on a red in this game. Sometimes I get a ticket, sometimes I don't get a ticket. I'm not sure if I just don't stop long enough to trigger it that I've stopped. So I maybe need to emphasize that more. So this is what West Yellowstone looks like as you're leaving. I remember on the right side here, it's kind of a hotel or a restaurant or something, and this looks fairly familiar. I didn't bother to look up any photos or compare anything, but it looks like West Yellowstone. So everything else has been pretty realistic, so I trust them on that. And then we are out of West Yellowstone, and here's where we'll pick up the pace just a little bit. No reason to go slow. We're going to fly down into Idaho. Still pretty hard keeping this thing in the lane, as you notice, especially if I'm multitasking, which is not a great example. But I am watching soccer on my monitor to my left, as well as pressing different buttons and changing views and things like that. But trying to stay focused and keep the truck in the lane. It's actually harder to keep it in the lane, I think, in this view. I don't know. I go back and forth on that, but I kind of like this third-person view from behind. I think it makes it a little bit weird to steer because you feel like you're steering from the back of the trailer, but it's actually steering from the very front of the tractor. So this should look familiar to some of you. You see the Round Hotel on the river there in Idaho Falls. And that's exactly right. We are entering Idaho Falls. The river comes right through town there, and it's got some small waterfalls, but enough that it is Idaho Falls. Back on the freeway, looping around. We're going to go closer to the Round Hotel there, which I've stayed at before for a driver's education conference I was putting on. So we'll fly through Idaho Falls, get our speed up here to 70. Still have, believe it or not, 8 hours, 7 minutes to go in this trip, and I'm going to cut a lot of this out. So we'll be quick. Just kind of keeping some of the highlights. It's tough knowing what to keep and what not to keep doing a lane change. That guy was merging on because I don't want to take away from the game being trucking, and you spend a lot of time driving. So I don't want to not videotape, not include some of that at least, because this is what you do in the game. Even sped up, it's like, okay, there's a lot of driving, but I drove all this at normal speed, but the game still makes time go by. I never did figure out the ratio. It's like 6 times faster than real driving or something, but the distances are compressed. So these cities aren't really this close together, but in the game they are, so you don't have to do 6 hours of nothing, So I think they balance that really well, knowing that people probably wouldn't want to just drive for 6 hours. I mean, they could go do that in real life, and it's a long drive. So they had to kind of find a nice balance between real and video game. And again, they did a great job. All right, it is telling us to pull over to the way station. A lot of those recently I've been able to just go by, but this one I have to stop. And may mean I'm crossing a border, something like that. So I kind of have a feeling we're entering Utah. No, we're not. We just went through Idaho Falls, so I don't know. Maybe we were in Utah already, and that was a way station to enter. So that makes sense. Let's see if we can pick up any, going this fast, we'll see if we can pick up any hints of where we are. Cheyenne, Wyoming. Exit, Cheyenne, exit. It's a good thing the signs don't whip by this fast in real life. They're hard enough sometimes to catch. All right, I think we're getting close to something up here ahead. So let's see where we're pulling into. So red light, green light. There we go. Looks like a town. It is Provo. So I was right. We were in Utah. And Provo discovered. Now that's not where we're going. We are headed to Moab, Utah. But I see that my fatigue was maxed and my gas was getting low, so I pulled in, got gas, and slept. As you can see, it is now morning. We're pulling out of the parking lot.
Sound like a broken record, but this starts again with Conte running through the middle. Opens up space for Rabiel, gets it to Turam.
All right, freshly showered, fed, and rested. We're going to get back on the road and get some miles ticked off. Get to Moab. Now, Moab is famous for its rock features, its mountain biking, its off-roading, and kind of the red rock. So I'm hoping there's some really huge windmills right there, massive. So I'm hoping to start seeing some of that as we get closer to Moab, see some of that color change of the rock and the soil. It's all kind of reddish brown. Okay, some slower traffic here. Interesting buildings there. I don't know those. Some of you from that side of the state might recognize those domed buildings. This isn't Idaho. This is Utah. So some of you who have visited Utah may be familiar with those domed buildings. I am not. Oh, that truck about took me out. He was merging. His job was to wait for a gap, and I think he bounced off me, to be honest with you. Nothing popped up for me, so I didn't get dinged for it, but still, I expect, sometimes the AI is so smart in this game, but sometimes it's not, and that's one example. They just merged, even though I was there. So should I have changed lanes? Yeah, do I legally have to? No. But I should as a good driver. So it just came up so fast I didn't get a chance to. But if that happens to you, and you just don't merge if there's no gap. If you have to stop, you stop. I mean, you try not to stop on freeway entrances, but you definitely would let cars know behind you, flash your brake lights, maybe even put on your hazards, and then keep checking your rearview mirror if you're stopped. But all right, we are off the road going in a different direction and only 20 minutes away. I don't really see, this does not feel like Moab, but the rocks in the mountains, really realistic looking. Maybe a slight kind of pinkish tint to it, but not really red. So we may be outside of, I don't know, maybe a ways away. We're going to go ahead and try the more advanced parking. I don't see this as a real difficult one. The trailer's not super complicated or long. If I can get those XP, I will. So it's kind of for me, it's a race to get as many experience points as I can, so I can go up levels and get new features, new truck parts, new trucks, new jobs, things like that. So yep, this one definitely worth the experience point. Well, worth doing because it's an easy parking job. Literally just straight back. So you do have to put it between two different things, but that's not a problem. So always start backing slow and just make sure you see which way the back of your trailer goes with your steering input, and if it's going the direction you want, just base everything on that. And all the inputs should be gentle, like a little bit, otherwise you end up like I am right here, too much, and then I overshot it. So you always want to do just little movements, a little bit at a time. Those little movements end up being big. Little steering wheel movements end up being big trailer movements. So just a little bit, and you want to end up nice and straight. For the customer as well, they appreciate the professionalism of you leaving the trailer nice, neat, and straight for the next person who will pick it up and take it to wherever. So just back up far enough here that I trigger the green, and then we hit Y to unload it and get our rating and our points and all that good stuff. So that was awesome. Thanks for joining me on that long trip to Moab. I'll catch you next time. For now, Mr. Johns is out.